The Panama Canal is closed. The United States shut it down on January 30th, 2025. This unprecedented move sent shockwaves around the world. Global trade screeched to a halt. The closure came after a rival entity seized power. This group claims to have invested $4 billion in the region. The situation is tense. The world waits to see what will happen next. The closure highlights the strategic importance of the canal. It's a vital artery for global commerce. Over 14,000 ships pass through the canal each year. They carry goods between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The shutdown is already causing major disruptions. Shipping costs are skyrocketing. Delays are mounting. The impact on the global economy is significant. The closure is a major embarrassment for Panama. The Panamanian government seems powerless to stop it. They are calling for calm. They are urging a peaceful resolution. But the situation is very fluid. It is unclear who is really in control. The United States has a long history with the Panama Canal. It all started in the early 1900s. The U.S. wanted to build a canal across Panama. At the time, Panama was part of Colombia. The U.S. helped Panama gain independence. In return, Panama granted the U.S. control of the canal. The U.S. finished building the canal in 1914. It was a major engineering feat. The canal greatly reduced travel times between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. For decades, the U.S. controlled the canal and the surrounding area. This control was a source of tension with Panama. Panamanians felt the U.S. had too much power. They wanted control of their own destiny. In 1977, the two countries signed a treaty. This treaty transferred control of the canal to Panama. The transfer was completed in 1999. After the transfer, Panama took over the canal's operation. They created the Panama Canal Authority, or ACP. The ACP is responsible for the canal's management, operation, and maintenance. Panama has done a good job of running the canal. They completed a major expansion in 2016. This expansion doubled the canal's capacity. The Panama Canal is a major source of revenue for Panama. Ships pay tolls to use the canal. These tolls are based on the size and type of ship. The tolls have been a source of contention between the U.S. and Panama. In recent years, Panama has increased tolls. They say the increases are necessary to maintain and improve the canal. However, some U.S. officials have criticized the increases. They say the tolls are too high. Former U.S. President Donald Trump repeatedly complained about the tolls. He claimed the U.S. was being overcharged. He even threatened to retake the canal. "We built it, we paid for it, it's ours," he once said. Trump's threats were widely condemned. They were seen as an attempt to bully Panama. The current toll dispute is part of a larger pattern. The U.S. has a long history of interfering in Panama. This interference dates back to the early 20th century. The U.S. has a strategic interest in the canal. It wants to ensure the canal remains open to U.S. ships. However, the U.S. must respect Panama's sovereignty. Panama is a sovereign nation. It has the right to control its own territory. Section 4. The Chinese Dragon looms. Adding fuel to the fire is China's growing influence in Panama. China has become a major investor in Panama in recent years. Chinese companies operate ports at both ends of the Panama Canal. They have also invested in infrastructure projects such as roads and bridges. This investment has raised concerns in Washington. Some U.S. officials worry that China is trying to gain control of the canal. They point to the fact that Chinese companies now operate the ports at both ends of the canal. They also note that China has been investing heavily in other countries in the region. These concerns are not entirely unfounded. China has been expanding its influence around the world. It is seeking to secure its economic interests. It is also trying to challenge U.S. dominance. The Panama Canal is a strategically important asset. It is understandable that China would be interested in it. The U.S. is watching China's moves very closely. It is unclear what the U.S. will do if it believes that China is trying to gain control of the canal.